What is going on? It is the Obscurist tourist here once again, and today I come to you from St. Thomas, Ontario, which is, if you drive down the 401, about 2.5 hours west of Toronto, you will stumble upon St. Thomas. And I am here to visit something that I have been very interested in for a long time, and that is right behind me, right down this path. That is the former St. Thomas Psychiatric Hospital, the infamous St. Thomas Psychiatric Hospital that has a very dark history, like most old psychiatric hospitals do. And this place is just massive. It is a series of buildings on a large, ginormous swath of property here beside the new St. Thomas Hospital. So I'm really excited. I'm not sure if I will be able to get inside of this place, but I think it is super interesting and will be super cool to just walk around and look at the many buildings on site here. So, without further ado, let's go and check out the St. Thomas Psychiatric Hospital. So, before I take you on this journey and give you a tour around the grounds here, let's give you a brief history of this place. It was in August of 1937 that construction began here on what was then known as the Ontario Hospital. Known as the finest mental health hospital in the country, it was built for the purpose of treating people with psychiatric illness. The hospital began accepting its first patients in April of 1939, and in just 4 short months, however, the hospital's capacity grew exponentially to 1,000 by August of that year. Astoundingly, at one point, the hospital housed over 2,400 patients. Shortly after the start of World War II, the Ontario government leased the hospital buildings to the Department of National Defence, and by late October 1939, patients had been relocated to other facilities across the province, and hospital grounds became a training base for more than 60,000 Air Force personnel in the service. At the end of the war, the facility was restored to a fully functioning psychiatric hospital once again. In the years that followed, the facility pioneered many innovative approaches that supported patient health and well-being. And one unique development during this time included the establishment of a 463-acre farm that provided staff and patients with the means and opportunity to participate in food production for the entire hospital. A new hospital facility was eventually built on the north end of the St. Thomas property in 2013, which led to the permanent closure of this old hospital we're about to take a peek at. When the old hospital closed for the last time, it locked away another link to the unfortunate history of psychiatric care in Ontario. It was a dark past that included ongoing physical and sexual abuse of patients throughout the years, many of whom were referred to by staff as imbeciles, lunatics, and idiots. Now, It doesn't seem like I will be able to get inside this place today and find out for myself firsthand, but there have been many stories of these buildings and this land as being haunted, and considering what happened here for decades, it wouldn't be surprising that residual dark energies from the horror and suffering inflicted upon former residents, some of whom were abandoned by their families and who spent their final days confined within these walls, still reside here. I will include some links to further information about the infamous past of this facility right below this video. And now that I'm actually here, I am pretty shocked by the sheer reality of the size of this place. Now that I'm not looking at it on Google Earth or Google Maps, this place is absolutely massive. I've been here for about half an hour and I haven't even remotely gone through a tenth of the buildings here. So right behind me, look at that. Who's that? Big Blue. I brought Big Blue with me. Put her in the back of my van and brought her here because I just had a feeling that walking wouldn't cover enough ground quickly enough. So I feel like I made the right decision. And this is boarded up quite well. So if I'm seeing this here, I would assume that this is pretty much how it's looking in all of these buildings. So I am not holding out hope to get inside, but who knows, we might get lucky. Not much information on the different buildings here, but this from that letter right up there tells me that this sort of reception building is building A, and you can see one of the sub buildings right back there. Just check out this grand entrance. Beautiful. An absolutely perfect example of Art Deco architecture. And there is the old sign etched right into the concrete there, the Ontario Government Hospital. Padlocked to keep me out. Shh. Don't tell anyone that I'm here. The grounds are, I don't know, maybe they're still maintained because it seems like there would be a little more overgrowth than this, considering that this place has been closed for almost 20 years. And you can see another brilliant example of Art Deco detailing right up there. And this would have been the Tri-County Building, Pavilion 2. I have no idea what that means. Much more overgrowth over here. This is, if you peek through the foliage there, this is Building J. And right over here we have Building E. And then directly adjacent to that is Building G, just over there. check out this sun-soaked traffic sign here. 20 kilometers an hour on my bike. I think I'm hitting much below the maximum here. And right in the distance, so on the left here, this is the end of the complex, and right there, that is an OPP station. So this is why, if you do come here, you've got to be very careful and tread very lightly, because they are pretty much on site. This road, right directly in front of me, leads right into that OPP station. So, just a word of warning. And I realize now that all of these buildings back here are interconnected via that backbone right there. You walk through that hallway and it will lead you to all of these sub-buildings. Even the bars that kept the patients in and are currently keeping me out are designed really well and look not out of place on this old building. I'll take a peek around the corner here. Just curious. Saw this hedgerow. Okay. Wow. Let's see if we can peek through. So this set of buildings right here in the back of the complex seem in a lot worse shape than the main administrative building. So I'd guess that these were closed down a year prior, maybe even longer, before the main hospital was. I thought perhaps that these buildings were the actual accommodations for the patients here, but it turns out that this was actually a meeting room building. So for staff, nurses, and doctors, this is where they would have made decisions about patients and altered policy. And this right behind me is the old building that housed the Ontario Ministry of Agriculture and Food. And you can see the entrance is just completely in disarray. Probably the building that is in the worst shape that I've seen. So we'll see. No way in there. You can see just how in the middle of nowhere this hospital is today. And this is Building K. And you can see a prime example of nature taking over here. I love these buildings. Just amazing pieces of architecture. And we are here back behind the rest of the buildings, and this is Building H. And I assume that this would have contained all of the transformers and electrical equipment that would have helped power this entire complex. See some interesting animals up there. A ram, a turkey. I'm not sure what that is in the middle. Is that a chicken and a little calf? Not sure. And I just stumbled upon this is the Geriatric Psychiatry building. Check out this entrance. pretty spooky. I'm playing with fire here. I got really, really close to the OPP station, and I'm surprised no one has walked over yet to read me the riot act. So let's move on. And when I came in here and saw this field right amongst the buildings, I was thinking, that's odd, kind of unused space, but turns out this was a baseball diamond. And I can't be sure whether this was for the patients or for the staff here at the hospital. A nice little relic, though. Here's a remnant from some filming that was done here, either a TV show or perhaps a movie. If this set of buildings and this property looks familiar, then it's because you have seen it on either television or perhaps the big screen. Though during the pandemic, the things that were filmed here, I don't believe were ever released in movie theaters, so just a small screen. What was filmed here? We got Amazon Prime's The Boys was filmed here, as well as Guillermo del Toro's Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark. And that is a brilliant, brilliant movie. And if you love scary movies, I highly recommend it because it's a good scare. Oh, that's yet another grand entrance to Building F. I feel like I'm missing a bunch of letters here, but there's a few closer to the inside that I'm sure I never saw, so forgive me. And this is Building X, and it looks a lot newer than the others. In fact, when I was riding up to this, I was thinking perhaps this was a part of the new hospital, but nope, it is also abandoned. Yet another shipping and receiving building. Loading dock, loading, unloading. And check out that little detail right there. That looks like, I don't know, correct me if I'm wrong, but that looks to be a stork. So, somewhere in this building, I assume that this is where obstetricians would practice and babies would be delivered and taken care of. I could be totally wrong on that, though. And on these windows, they are actually, they have steel gates to keep riffraff out. And I don't know if the window on the left there and the right are new. If someone broke in, they definitely look like new additions, but that leads to the question, why would you put new windows on an abandoned building? And if you're thinking of checking out the grounds with your car, you will be out of luck. They have blocked it off pretty good, though I guess you could just drive around these on the grass. But they are hoping you're not an outside of the box thinker. So if you're not, too bad for you. Looks like security is right over there. So, well, that seems to be it for me here at the St. Thomas Psychiatric Hospital. Security caught up to me I don't know where they've been for the past hour and a half, perhaps a lunch break, but they finally caught up to me. Security, private security for on-site here rather than the OPP. So, just letting you know that you've got two things to worry about if you do decide to break the law and enter this place is private security and the Ontario Provincial Police, which are close by. Just be wary of that. For now, it is the Obscurist tourist saying so long, stay safe, and let's get real. Stay beautiful. Until next time.